Growing up with an alcoholic can be a nightmare. For Eli, that nightmare didn't come with monsters under his bed. It came with footsteps in the hallway, the slow unscrewing of a bottle cap, and the gut-sinking silence that fell just before the yelling started. Their little house on Pine Street had peeling paint, creaky floors, and a living room filled with old family pictures and fading wallpaper. But over time, those snapshots told a lie. Smiling faces from a past that no longer felt real. His father, Danny, had once been the neighborhood handyman. Strong, kind, always ready with a joke. But after a work accident left him with a bad back and a bottle of painkillers, the spiral began. Painkillers turned into vodka. Vodka turned into anger. And anger turned into Eli's childhood. At night, Eli would lie awake and trace the cracks in his bedroom ceiling with his eyes, while listening for the telltale creak of his father rising from the recliner. His mother, quiet and tired, would retreat into the kitchen, clutching a rosary but never saying a word. The worst nights were when the storms inside matched the ones outside. Thunder crashing, his dad's voice raised, his mother crying softly in the laundry room. Eli learned how to blend in, stay quiet, and never ask for too much. At school, he smiled, he joked, he kept his head down, but inside, he vowed something fierce. When I get out of here, I will never touch a drink. I will never be like him. When Eli turned 18, he left home with a thrift store duffel bag, $47 in crumpled bills, and a Bible his mother had quietly slipped into the bottom of the bag. "You may not read it now," she whispered, eyes red, "but one day you'll need what's inside." He didn't believe her, and for years, Eli floated. He worked at auto shops, loading docks, and corner stores. He slept in spare rooms, on friends' couches, sometimes in his car. He tried to forget where he came from, but the memories followed him like shadows. He never drank, but the rage boiled under the surface. Sometimes, when he saw a father walking hand in hand with a child, he'd feel something tear inside him. Grief for what he had never had, and fear that he'd never be anything more than broken. Then came the snowstorm. He was walking downtown in a new city, cold wind slicing through his thrift store coat, lips chapped, hands numb, when he passed a little white church with a hand-painted wooden sign out front. "You don't have to carry what Jesus already died to take from you." Something about those words stopped him. Maybe it was the way they echoed what he'd always carried: rage, shame, fear. Maybe it was the warmth he saw through the stained glass windows. Maybe it was God whispering, "Come home." So Eli stepped in. The sanctuary smelled of pine wood, old books, and candle wax. The heater rattled softly. A small choir sang off key, And the preacher wasn't polished. He was old, with shaky hands and a soft voice that somehow carried to every corner of the room. Some of you were handed pain instead of love. Some of you grew up in houses where the bottle came before the Bible. But listen to me, child of God. You are not your father's sins. You are not your mother's silence. You are not what was done to you. You are who Jesus says you are. Redeemed, chosen, new. Eli's throat closed. He hadn't cried in years, but something cracked wide open inside him that day. He kept coming back, every Sunday, sitting in the back row, not talking much, just listening and healing. One night, he pulled out his mother's Bible. The pages were yellowed, marked with little sticky notes in her handwriting. On one page, next to the story of the prodigal son, she had written, "Even if you never leave home, you can still get lost, and you can still be found." And suddenly, Eli saw himself in the story. Not the son who ran off and wasted everything, but the one who stayed in pain, who waited for love, who never stopped hoping for something more. That night, Eli got on his knees on a worn carpet in a rented room and whispered his first real prayer. Jesus, if you are real, take this weight from me. I don't want to be angry anymore. I don't want to fear becoming him. I just want to be free. And in the stillness, something holy happened. A warmth filled the room, like a father's arms wrapping around him. He didn't hear an audible voice, but he felt it deep in his bones. You are mine, and I am not like your father. I don't abandon. I don't hurt. I don't break promises. I make all things new. And from that moment on, Eli's life began to change. Slowly, tenderly, not all at once. He forgave his father, sometimes daily. He started helping with youth ministry, pouring into boys who reminded him of his younger self. He worked hard, built a stable life, and, most importantly, built a new legacy. Years later, he stood in a quiet hospital room, holding his newborn daughter. Her name was Grace. And as he rocked her, he whispered through tears, "You will never hear angry footsteps in the hall. You will never see a bottle in my hand. You will always know you are loved, because Jesus set me free, and now I get to set you free too." And on the nightstand sat that same Bible, his mother's. A new sticky note inside read, "A better story begins here." Friends, God doesn't just patch up pain. He rewrites stories. He steps into our most broken legacies and says, "This ends with you, and it begins with me." Now, you are not the change you were born into, and you are not the fear that raised you. You are not the bottle that broke your home. You are the one Jesus came for. And his open hand is still reaching right now, ready to break the cycle and lead you into freedom. God bless you, my friends.